Howdy y'all, I'm Ice Gold, and today I am undertaking the tall task of explaining the entire Wizard101 story thus far with only one sentence per world. And they got longer. They got a lot longer as the list went on. But let's go ahead and start with Wizard City. Wizard City is a nice short introduction to the game that covers important stuff like Malistaire being the main villain of Arc 1, but I have no idea what the new story is like. Krakatopia is about a strange order that wrote a book that Malistaire wants so he can resurrect his dead wife and probably destroy the spiral in the process. In Marleybone, you're a step ahead of Malistaire until Clancy Pembroke over here unwittingly hands the victory for this world and the next directly to him by sending you on a fetch quest, putting you like 5 steps behind Malistaire for the rest of the arc. In Mushu, Clancy's actions in Marleybone led to the Emperor getting sick, and now 3 fetch quests stand between you and the ability to get to Malistaire. Dragonspire, you need to get into a student exchange program, but it takes a while because you have to go back in time and then beat up the Dean of Admissions to do it, and then once you're there, you can finally hatch and then tame the dragon and beat Malistaire after another few fetch quests. In Grizzleheim, a bunch of ravens didn't learn from Malistaire's mistakes trying to wake up a titan, so you have to stop them while they sow chaos throughout 2 different parts of the world. In Wisteria, Ambrose drafts you to represent Wizard City in a tournament against a bunch of the most insufferable people in the entire spiral, and along the way you solve a problem with a bunch of weird creatures and vines from another world. In Celestia, you have to save the Storm Professor's friend, but immediately get sidetracked for most of the world by the idea of learning cool new spells and unlocking the secrets of astromagic. And once you finally do get back to finding the guy, he's roommates with the king of the most secluded empire in existence, and even the people who helped you with the astromagic stuff have no idea it exists, so you just sort of wander in there on your own. In Zafaria, finding the lost students that you were sent here to find immediately becomes the B-plot of the world, while Morganth, the spider lady and main arc villain you saw a grand total of once in Celestia, is after a deck of shadows, but she needs all of the peoples of Zafaria's relics to get it, so she curses the leaders of 3 of them and pays the last one's council member to give her theirs, rendering the whole experience worthless. In Avalon, apparently Morganth is now so powerful that you need a special sword to be able to win, but it got passed around more than that one cheerleader at your high school and then lost in the Pendragon's house, so now you have to fix a bunch of shrines with different meanings to be able to get and then use it. The comet that everyone thought destroyed the world of Azteca actually didn't, so now Morganth wants to get a bunch of old-ass Aztecosaurs to teach her the song that lets her make a new spiral where she's the divine ruler and everything she does is right, and in the process she makes the comet destroy the world anyway just to be an asshole. In the first part of Chrysalis, Morganth decided ethnic cleansing was a good idea, so for most of this first part, you have to help the Burrowers strike back against the Umbra Legion, and while you're at it, you have to uncorrupt the Eclipse Tower to learn Shadow Magic. Then, you and 2 companions you get along the way have to assault the Umbra Legion's strongest fort to be able to cross the Starfall Sea because Morganth is on the other side. And in the second part, a meth addict who lives in a cave helps you cross the Starfall Sea, and you create a dope-ass castle in the sky where you learn Morganth got expelled from Ravenwood, which is why she turned bad. Then you start a massive mantis revolt in her backyard, followed by learning about the Solar Arc, followed by beating up a bunch of people in the Hive, and while you're there, you meet this guy who seems to know an awful lot about shadow magic, and he helps you beat up a bunch more people, and eventually you go and defeat Morganth in her Shadow Palace, but afterward the guy you freed from a crazy-ass prison turns out to actually be bad, and there was a big reason why he was supposed to be in that prison to begin with. In Polaris, you start the French Revolution in Russia for some reason, while trying to figure out why Bartleby is sick, and eventually you find out that the guy you freed in the Hive is actually Grandfather Spider, the divine force of chaos and evil in the spiral, and now Raven the narrator is beginning to doubt your motives, so you track down Spider's son, the Rat, who's been orchestrating a mining operation here in Polaris, so he can make his own Titan to tear apart land and sky, and dissolve the spiral so Spider can remake the first world with Raven's daughter Mallory, and you eventually fight your way up the Borealis Peaks to take him down. Oh, and also you come here to the Arcanum in the middle of all that. In Mirage, Spider's son, the Scorpion, is masquerading around as Overlord Xerxes, so you have to get all the house cats to work together, which has apparently never been done, but after you somehow manage it, you figure out Spider is literally trying to reverse time to when the first world existed with the Eye of History that Malistaire gave to the Cabal all the way back in Arc 1, and they have become the new side villain working with Spider, so you have to get down to the Sands of Time and kick his ass before he can manage it. But in the process of that, Mallory's dumbass gets herself captured and taken to Imperia. You recruit a crew to fly you to Imperia, but you crash land here in Ariel, and you have to do a bunch of redundant stuff before you go to Xanadu. But once you're there, you learn about Medulla, and you have to find him, which leads you to Athenor, and then you have to stop a civil war when you're there, and eventually you figure out Bat's trying to stop Medulla from getting to Spider's Chaos Heart by using Mallory to break the 3 chains holding it in place, Then you infiltrate a squid's stomach and beat up Medulla, who is this brain-looking dude, and save Mallory. In part 2, you have to get Mallory to a safe spot in Mandala, so you take her there and explore her dreams or whatever, and forget about her for most of the world. But while you're at it, you uncover a Kabbalist conspiracy plot in Nimbus and tell a bunch of dwarves their problems are all fake. Then you have to fight a literal titan at the site where the first world got destroyed and untether the chaos, alright? Spider and Raven make up, and you realize you have nothing to fear now. So with Spider defeated, the Cabal wants to reunite with the Arcanum and not do anything dumb regarding the first world anymore, which is cool. But when you go to meet with them at Malworth Von Trapp's estate, a cavity opens up and swallows and destroys the memories of the old one, who is apparently older than the Spiral, and from then on you basically just fight capitalism until the very end, where you fight a dark reflection of yourself as the final boss. In Lemuria, you find out that dark reflection of yourself turned out to be a manifestation of the Nothing, who looks eerily similar to the old one, and he was confused by life, so he digs up the old one's dream about Lemuria, and he wants to save it, so you bring him here, and your main goal is to destroy the world synthesizer, which can not only create, but also completely destroy worlds, and along the way you meet 8 heroes from around the world who double-cross you in the end over the synthesizer, so you have to beat them all up. But the Nothing, now going by the name Dasein, which is German for to be, jumps into it to stop it from destroying everything, so you bring it back to the Arcanum, where Malworth takes a hammer to it, and boom. Problem solved. Because Dasein dove headfirst into the thing meant to create and destroy worlds, he got turned into a world, which is now called Novus, and a bunch of shards of that world ended up all over the Spiral. So naturally, when new land is discovered, all the Spiral powers fight over it in the name of sweet, sweet imperialism, and a war breaks out toward the end because Dasein is this being that can just spawn stuff in whenever he wants, and everyone exploited that to gain an economical advantage. And there's a whole economics lesson somewhere in here, so you have to put a stop to it. But the problem is, by the end, Dasein gets tired of getting exploited, so he decides he hates the Spiral and becomes nothing again. So now we have to chase him to Wallaru in order to keep him from canceling out reality. And yep, as of right now, that is, I guess, a crude explanation of the Wizard101's story thus far. Wallaru is right around the corner, so I may make an update video for that. But basically what I think is going to happen in Wallaru is we fight Dasein at some point in there, and yeah, that's the only thing that I think will happen. So thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave like 50 comments for the algorithm. I'll see you in the next one.